Seems like Magnus Carlsen is winning after sacrificing the queen almost daily now. Title Tuesday Blitz Tournament. Magnus is playing against Russian Grandmaster David PARAVYAN, who starts with the English opening with the move c4. Magnus responds with e5, knight c3, bishop develops to b4, queen goes to c2, a5 supporting the bishop on b4, knight f3 challenging the pawn on e5, Magnus protects the pawn with d6, e3 to develop the bishop on e2, knight goes to f6 for Magnus preparing the castle, and bishop goes to d3, quite unusual move here, but this is creating a battery to possibly capture the pawn on h7 when the moment arises. Knight a6. Magnus is jumping with his knights, and the knight goes to c5. Knight d5, centralizing the knight for David PARAVYAN. Knight goes back to d7 from Magnus, a3 challenging the bishop. Bishop doesn't move away. Instead, Magnus Carlsen attacks the knight with the move c6. Knight takes the bishop, and pawn captures the knight. And all of a sudden, bishop takes h7. Unusual move, not expected, and it's a big mistake. And it's a big mistake not because Magnus could play g6 and the bishop has no moves, because after that, bishop would take g6, queen would take on g6, white has 3 pawns for the bishop and a very good compensation. Instead, Magnus finds a much better move, b3. He attacks the queen and he deflects the queen from protecting the bishop. So the queen cannot take on b3 because rook would take on a7. Queen has to be retreated to b1 to still have support the bishop on a7. Knight f6, again attacking that bishop. Bishop retreats to d3. Knight jumps to c5. All Magnus pieces are jumping on the board and are very happy with the position. Bishop e2, e4, another aggressive move attacking the knight. Knight goes to d4, and Magnus continues with another move, knight g4. Knight g4, PARAVYAN plays f3. He doesn't want this knight to be on the square g4, so he is challenging that knight, but instead of protecting the knight, Magnus Carlsen checks the white king with queen h4 check. And all his pieces, maybe except for this rook on a8, are in the game and attacking white position. PARAVYAN plays pretty much the only move in this position, g3. And here comes queen takes g3, sacrificing the queen. Absolutely epic move by Magnus. I don't know how he finds these moves, but this was absolutely astonishing. H takes g3, rook takes h1, bishop f1 the only move, knight h2. The bishop is pinned, cannot be protected, king goes to f2, check with the rook, king g2, and e takes f3. And now the white king has no moves except he can take the knight on h2. And believe it or not, that would be the worst move. If he takes the knight on h2, black has an absolutely magnificent simple move, g6. And look at this position. The bishop does not have any moves. The rook has no moves. If it goes to a2, it would be captured by the pawn. And the queen, the strongest piece in chess, believe it or not, does not have a single move in this position. Every square is covered by black pieces. They are playing without a queen. But basically, they're playing with the rook, the knight, the bishop, and the rook against one knight, because other white pieces cannot move. Therefore, in this position, PARAVYAN takes the pawn with the knight and sacrifices the knight, but after rook takes f3, at least he can free up his queen and place queen h7. Rook f6, another brilliancy by Magnus. He forgets about the knight on h2, and he plays this very nice move, rook f6. d4, attacking the knight and also trying to get this poor bishop into the game. Bishop f5, the queen is under attack. Queen takes g7, and now 3 of Magnus's 5 pieces are under attack. 2 knights are under attack, and the rook is under attack. And Magnus makes a mistake. Not yet, hold on, he checks bishop e4. King takes h2, and now the mistake. King e7. With 1 second to go on the clock. Magnus is human as well. He makes this mistake. All white had to do to turn the tables around in this game and get a much better position was to take the knight on c5, which seems like the most logical move in this position. Instead, with 2 seconds to go on the clock, David plays the move g4. g4. He was still concerned about the safety of his king, and he wanted to create a square where it could escape. But that was a fatal mistake, because Magnus plays rook g6. Queen goes to h7. Magnus jumps with the knight on d3. d5 for PARAVYAN. Magnus takes the pawn on g4. Queen h5. Check from g2. King goes to h3. Check from f2. King goes to h4, and Magnus finishes the game with the move rook h2 check. In this position, white lost on time. They ran out of time. The position is absolutely lost. After king g5, the best move is actually rook g8 check, and it's basically a checkmate in a couple of moves. After king f4, rook will take on h5, and after any move, let's say bishop d2, rook h4 checkmate. Another sacrifice of the queen by Magnus Carlsen, another brilliant game, and it's a blitz game, which makes it even more impressive. And if you like the video, please subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you for watching.